Have you ever wondered why kids sometimes struggle with big emotions and what you can do to help them, especially when they're stressed or when they're anxious? If you're a parent, a teacher, or a coach, or anyone really that works with kids or has kids or have heard of kids or met a kid, then this video is for you. Hey folks, my name is Manny Cabrera, and I lead a team of 20 coaches and instructors that teach hundreds of children in our community each and every week how to be the best version of themselves physically, mentally, and emotionally and socially through our programs at Sidekicks Family Martial Arts Centers. In order to help kids in your care overcome their big emotions and for them to succeed, we've really got to first understand brain biology. It really starts with three things that we need to remember. So the first thing that's important to remember when your child is experiencing their big feelings and their big emotions is that children do not have the biological skill set all the time to control their emotions when they're under stress or anxiety. See, they're still learning it. They need what's called the neuroception of safety, a feeling of being safe to manage their emotions effectively. It's not just momentary feelings, it's deeply rooted in their brain development. See, children's brains are still developing, especially the parts of their brain that manage emotional regulation like the prefrontal cortex. This region helps us think before we act and manage our emotions, and in children, that's not fully developed, making it harder for them to control their reactions when they feel threatened or when they feel stressed. So this concept of neuroception explains how our brains perceive safety or threat, often without conscious awareness. So for children, feeling safe is not about their physical environment, but also how secure they feel emotionally. So when children don't feel safe, their brains trigger a defense mechanism. And this is often seen as that fight, flight, or even freeze response that's orchestrated by the amygdala, the part of their brain that handles emotions and survival instincts. In these moments, logical thinking takes a back seat to the immediate reaction. So when they're under stress and when they have anxiety, you can expect big emotions, tantrums, and meltdowns. So an interesting side note is that after a long day, especially in the afternoon after school, kids' cortisol levels, that's the stress hormone, can really peak. So prolonged cortisol levels can lead to a range of issues from attention problems to anxiety and even depression. So what can we do to help? So the first thing is creating a neuroception of safety. It involves more than just a safe place. It includes supportive relationships, predictable routines, and responses that reassure, not punish. The second thing that's important to remember in helping kids to get over those big feelings is that kids are often doing the best that they can with the brain that they have. When kids' brains are producing feel-good chemicals, they perform better. So as we talk, imagine their brain as a bank, and all day they're receiving neurological withdrawals or deposits from their brain bank account. Throughout the day, various stressors make withdrawals from that account, and to help them cope, we need to make deposits in the form of feel-good chemicals, which boost their performance and their mood. We teach our team about how to help make these deposits into their brain bank account by intentionally helping to trigger things like dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins to help position them to overcome those elevated levels of cortisol that are triggered by stressors in their lives. These increase attention, social bonds, boost confidence, and even enhances their focus and energy. So for example, dopamine is triggered when there's an anticipation of reward. So for our purposes, it increases attention and effort during their training. So we intentionally trigger it through one of our teaching skills called trickery. Imagine this. We're in class and our instructors might say something like this. Okay, guys, when I say go, I want everybody to stand up there and get on their feet together just like a black belt. Let's see who's going to be the fastest. Ready, set, banana. Oh, I got you. Ready, set, goose. Ready, set, go-kart. Now, the kids are going to giggle and they're going to laugh. And as you're doing this trickery, you're actually triggering that dopamine in their brain, and you're also increasing their level of attention. And you're doing it with intent. Every laugh, exercise session, or happy moment is an opportunity to stimulate these positive pathways in their brain. Okay, so let's go with the third thing we need to remember as parents and coaches and instructors is that we need to adjust our expectations based on the structure of the brain. For example, whether your child is an introvert or an extrovert. So if you were going to take an introverted child's brain and an extroverted child and do an MRI scan of each of their brains, what you're going to discover is that an introverted child's amygdala and prefrontal cortex are often firing at a much higher level on a regular basis than an extrovert's. It just means that there's more activity there, which means that any kind of stimulation from the outside could potentially overstimulate an introvert's brain. So normally we would look at introverts and ask a question in class, and we would say, who can answer this question? The extroverts are like, ooh, pick me. And the introverts are like, I hope that she doesn't look at me. I hope that they don't pick me, right? And that's typically, if you might remember this from when you were at school. And then the teacher says, well, I need to pull that introverted child out of their shell. So they might point to the introverted child and it puts them immediately into the red zone. It overstimulates their brain. So now pushing an introvert out of their shell occasionally, so they're building the strength of being more comfortable in social situations, is healthy and is something that an introvert should do. But doing it day after day, week after week, month after month, every single time, and every single action overworks their brain. And you're going to see a lot more anxiety and they're, from these introverts, and they might feel even a little bit more overpressured. So you're gonna end up seeing a lot more meltdowns, and which means that the amygdala and the downstairs part of their brain no longer communicates with the upstairs part of their brain. So introverts, remember, they observe first and then they act. And they're very cautious and they like the pair, in the tortoise and the hare. They're more like the tortoise than the hare. And they just may not prefer to be in large group settings. Extroverts, on the flip side, because it takes more to stimulate their amygdala and their prefrontal cortex, they seek out those social interactions in order to get those parts of their brains firing up. And they have high energy, and they thrive in high energy group settings. So when they don't get it, that's when they tend to feel the anxiety and they have more of the emotional meltdowns. And the other kind of dysregulation behaviors occur. So one way we solve this in our classes and our camps is by giving chances for introverts to recharge their emotional battery with individual activities, and the chance to get the external, and the extroverts the opportunity to get the external stimulation, through group games. Once they've both had those needs met and their brain banks are topped up, they're ready for some awesome learning experiences that we offer. They learn, they grow, they excel, and because of we intentionally focused on how their brain works, and by understanding these differences, we were able to adjust our expectations and interactions to better support each child's unique needs. So before we wrap up, I want you to remember this quote. If a child leaves our studio safe, then I've done my job. If a child leaves knowing that they are loved and accepted for who they are, then I've reached my goal. Let's all strive to create those supportive environments so that kids can thrive. I challenge you now to share what you've learned today with someone else that helps kids succeed. This not only boosts your understanding, but it's also going to spread this valuable knowledge as well. And if you love these tips and information on how we help change lives in our community and how you can actually apply it to your own kids, hit the like and subscribe and the share. And then you can find out more information about our martial arts classes and our camps and our after-school programs here at Sidekicks as well. So go out and make it a powerful day.